Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement, in the great state of Kansas. And this video I am finishing up my ranking all of the Muppet movies. There are 8 theatrical Muppet movies, and I did number 8 through number 6 or number 5, and so I'm gonna do 4 through 1. Um, anyway, so if you watch the other video, you probably know what's coming up next. I had more of the older movies in the other one. I'd say some of the newer movies actually have been my favorite in the Muppet movie franchise, so to say. So number 4 is Muppets Most Wanted. It came out in 2014. This is the only Muppet movie that's really a direct sequel to the previous Muppet movie, which is the Muppets that came out in 2011. And then this came out in 2014, and it starts right where the other one stops, basically, and continues on that storyline. Basically, the Muppets are now back together, and they're gonna put on shows and all that after they put on the big show at the end of the first that other movie, The Muppets. Unfortunately, Amy Adams and Jay Siegel don't come back for this one. They kind of have a new cast, and it's all kind of a new type of storyline. This one where it's called Most Wanted because Kermit gets framed for another frog that's a criminal named Constantine, and they look exactly alike, except for Constantine has a mole on his face, and so he puts a mole on Kermit's face, and they arrest Kermit and send him to a Siberian prison, where Tina Fey is like the warden of this prison, and Constantine pretends to be Kermit, and somehow tricks all the other Muppets. Also, Ricky Gervais plays a kind of a new manager who's one of the funny jokes is his last name is Bad Guy, but he tells everybody, it's Badgie or something like that. It's French or something, but his last name is Bad Guy, and so it's kind of a meta humor of he turns out to be a bad guy. Spoilers for the movie. Anyway, so then they don't know that Constantine is using the group to go to different big cities, and he's a jewel thief, so he goes into museums and steals priceless jewelry. Anyways, that's Constantine's whole kind of thing. And then eventually they find out that he's not Kermit, and then they have to break Kermit out of the prison, stop Constantine, all this. Anyway, so that's kind of the basic plot of this movie. It's again directed by James Bobbin, who directed The Muppets. Like I said, Ricky Gervais and Tina Fey play major parts. Also, Ty Burrell has a really good. He's a French policeman who partners up kind of unreluctantly with Sam the Eagle, who's like a CIA agent, I think Ty Burrell's like Interpol or something like that. So they're both like these agencies of their country, and they kind of team up together to find the jewel thief, which is Constantine. The music again is written by Brett McKenzie, who wrote for the Muppets. This was also written by James Bobbin and Nicholas Stoller. James Bobbin, like I said, directed the other movie, and I guess I'll get to that movie, The Muppets, here pretty soon. That one was written by Jason Segel and Nicholas Stoller. So this has Nicholas Stoller came back, but Jason Segel didn't come back to write the sequel, unfortunately, and because he did a pretty good job with the other movie. But James Bobbin is directing and writing the screenplay, so it has a similar feel to the Muppets. Like I said, it's direct sequel. All the other movies are kind of like a rehash of we're gonna get the Muppets back together. It's always the original kind of story of usually Kermit and Piggy meet for the first time in a lot of the other movies. So this is a different one where everybody's kind of already together and we have an adventure. Overall, actually kind of enjoyed this. I was watching this again. I remember the first time it came out, it was kind of a disappointing movie after the Muppets was such a huge hit. And I think I didn't even go see the theater. I think my sister and my dad went and saw it, and they told me that it wasn't very good, and I was kind of disappointed because I loved the Muppets. And so I didn't go out and see it, and I must have eventually saw it, either rented it or streamed it or something. And I remember the first time watching it, I was kind of similar. I was kind of disappointed. Didn't think it was nearly as good as, maybe I was just comparing it to the Muppets, which was really good. And it didn't come up, it's a sequel, so you're hoping that, it's just as good as the first one. I think it kind of missed the mark there, and I don't know. I didn't really care for the whole Constantine plot line. the Constantine character I didn't care for at all. He's not really a funny character. He's really not that interesting of a character as a bad guy, and so I think I didn't really care for the whole plot line of it. Rewatching it, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit more than the first time. It's only the second time I've watched it, and actually kind of found myself actually kind of enjoying the movie. I think like I said, the plot isn't the best, and I think it kind of maybe uh, what hurts it is that it doesn't really have a marquee, memorable song like a lot of the other movies. Like all the other movies have amazing songs in it, and the songs here aren't terrible. They're okay, but there's not one or two that really break out like in some of the other Muppet movies. That's why it's not going to be as high. So I think the music is a very important part of why the Muppets are such a good movie. Why the movies I like enjoy so much. Let's say there's some fun songs in there. I think I like Tina Fey's song about the big house. She sings a Kermit, and all the prisoners are singing as they're singing about being in prison. That's a fun song. Um, there's a kind of fun duet between Miss Piggy and Celine Dion. Kind of comes in a cameo and sings the song together. And that's actually a pretty fun song. Like I said, not great songs, but overall there's some fun in them. And I actually kind of enjoyed some of the music. And I'm forgetting anything else, but I love the interrogation scene where they're interrogating all the Muppets, trying to figure out who the jewel thief is. That's a fun song. Overall, I like Ty Burrell and Sam Eagles' part because they come in and out of the movie, and they start off hating each other because they're two different countries. Sam's the American, Ty Burrell's this Frenchman, and so they kind of don't like each other at the beginning. But as the movie goes along, they start getting along more, and they're starting to see similarities in each other. By the end of the movie, they're best friends, and I actually kind of enjoyed the whole character arc with those two characters throughout the movie. And Tyler Burrell's a really funny actor, so I enjoyed. And he kind of made fun of the French society, which I enjoyed also. And so I'd say it's a decent movie. It's definitely not one of the top tier movies, but again, it's in the front half of the 8 movies. It's number 4, so for me, it's actually one of the better movies. I can think mostly the pace is pretty good, and it provides enough of the music and comedy to keep you entertained. Anyways, and then I said that the other movies that I had on my list, just there's moments that are just really boring and slow paced, and this one does a good job with that. So that's why it's at number 4. Number 3, I have A Muppet Treasure Island that came out in 1996. I actually saw this in the movie theater, I think, with my dad and my little sister, who was really little at the time. It's one of the few movies I saw. I think I've only seen 2 in the movie theater, and this was one of them. And really enjoyed it. I remember watching the movie theater and just loving this movie. And I've watched it several times in my life, and I just now rewatched it again. Still really great movie. I think I'd say top tier Muppet movie. I think it's a must see if you haven't watched Muppets. I think a really good uh, Muppet movie, directed by Brian Henson, who was the son of Jim Henson, who starred the Muppets. This is the second movie he directed. He directed A Muppet's Christmas Carol first, and then he directed. This is only 2 movies that he directed in the Muppets. And anyways, and he's done a really good job. I think he really good job directing. Probably the best director out of everybody. Looking at the movies that I have here. Of course, it's a adaptation of Treasure Island, which is this famous book that's been adapted many times. I've seen so many different versions of it, and overall, it's a popular story for a reason, and it's adapted so many times. It has a good plot to it, and they do such a great job adapting it, putting the. I love the whole idea of taking a classic story and putting the Muppet characters into the characters of the story. Kermit playing the captain. You have a kid that's playing Jack, or whatever. I think his name's Jack, and then you have Gonzo and Rizzo, or like his two friends of his. And Gonzo and Rizzo have become like some of my favorite characters. I think because of they kind of basically they've formed this really good buddy like friendship, and they work off each other really well. Starting with the Muppet Christmas Carol, I think is where they first kind of really became like this duo amongst everybody. And then this movie, they're a duo. And even recently, when they made Muppet Haunted Mansion on Disney Plus, it's all Gonzo and Rizzo. So I definitely love seeing those two. And even Muppets in Space, it's Gonzo and Rizzo. So those definitely 2 characters that are really working together that I really enjoy. And they do a great job in this movie. And then I have to say, Tim Curry plays the pirate captain. Uh, I'm now forgetting famous captain. I'm forgetting on top of my head. Um, and Tim Curry, great actor, always good at playing bad guys. And here he's playing a bad guy. That's not always bad, but he's kind of the bad guy, but he's not a terrible bad guy, even though he's a pirate. But it's a classic character, of course. Long John Silver's. He's Long John Silver's famous character, probably the most famous pirate of all time, and Tim Curry just nails it. Uh, he's I think one of the best performances I've seen in a Muppet movie. Definitely is Tim Curry in this. It's funny and all, and he's scary. He can be kind of a scary bad guy, so he brings all that into the character. It works really well off the Muppets. Yeah, and it's a good story and enjoyable, and the songs are really good. I think. Um, like I love um, Kermit and Miss Piggy have this song called "Love Let Us Hear," where they're like hanging by a rope and they're about ready to plunge to their death, and they sing this really nice song, really beautiful song, and great images around it. Also love Long John Silver's song about being a pirate. Really fun song, very funny song, and Tim Curry does such a good job with the character. One of the more famous, I think, songs is "Cabin Fever," which is kind of a fun song where they all are going crazy because they're on a boat in the water for such a long time, and they're going crazy, and they call it "Cabin Fever," and they have this whole music thing, and then it ends, and everybody just walks off. It's definitely one of the more well-known scenes in the movie, I think. Anyways, but yeah, definitely. Still, I think it works and it holds up. It's a really good movie, Muppet Treasure Island. Number two is a movie I've been mentioning already, The Muppets, which came out in 2011, which I can't believe it's like 11 years old. I feel like it wasn't that long ago it came out. Like I said, this was directed by James Bobbin, written by Jason Segel and James Bobbin. And Jason Segel also stars in it, with Amy Adams also playing a major part. Kind of the two main human characters in there. And then they bring in a new Muppet, which plays Jason Segel's brother in the movie. And it's such a great storytelling idea, bringing this new Muppet character who wants to be on the Muppet Show and idolizes Kermit. And then, of course, like I said, it has a whole, classic Hollywood, we're going to, this bad guy played by, I forget, I didn't write his name, Chris something. I didn't write his name down, but he plays a bad guy, and I think his name is like Texas Richmond, and he wants to buy the Muppet Studio and tear it down. The whole thing. So it's like to save the Muppet Studio, we're gonna have to put on a variety show and raise money. Because you have to raise so much money to save the studio, basically. So the whole movie's around the end where we're going to have the big show, and they have to get everybody together, all the Muppets together, and they have to figure out how to do a show again. And I love about this movie is that it kind of recognizes that we haven't had a Muppet movie in a long time. Like up to 2011, the last Muppet movie was Muppets in Space, which was 1999. So you're talking about 12 years in between the two movies. So Muppets were almost kind of a forgotten franchise. And so I love how they kind of in this movie, they kind of recognize that we hadn't seen the Muppets in a while, and they all kind of went their separate ways, and now we have to get them back together, and that people still love the Muppets, even though they've been almost forgotten. And so I love how they did that in the movie and in real life. That was kind of also true. So it kind of the movie was so good at re-energizing the franchise, which I loved, and really kind of brought it back for a little bit. Like I said, this movie I think did really well, really good movie. Like I said, it's number 2 on my list. One of the best Muppet movies that they've made. They did such a great job with it. Absolutely hilarious. Amazing writing. Songs are probably the best songs of any. I would say of all the Muppet movies, I love the songs the most on this one. Really amazing writing there. Again, Brett McKenzie does such a great job with the writing on these songs, and has a lot of really amazing songs. Obviously, Man or Muppet won the Oscar for Best Original Song, which was kind of an odd year for Oscars because they only nominated 3 songs. Usually they nominate 5 songs, but that year they only nominated 3 songs. And Man or Muppet, I love that it won. It's the only Muppet song I think to ever win an Oscar. Only a couple have been nominated. Like I said, Rainbow Connection. I think there was one other one. Uh, so they don't get nominated very often. So I'm glad to see a Muppet movie get an Oscar for a song. 'Cause songs are always so great. But this movie had three songs I think that should have got nominated. Man or Muppet was a great song. Also, the opening song that they have is absolutely amazing, where they're talking about how great life is. Happy Song, I think it's called Happy Song or something like that. Really great, big number, lots of extras and dancing, and funny and great tune, catchy. Love that song. And then my favorite song actually is "Pictures in My Head," um, which Kermit sings at one point, and "Oh, Life's a Happy Song" is the name of that song. But "Pictures in My Head" is actually one of the best songs I've ever heard, coming from the Muppets. It's actually probably my favorite of all time, where Kermit is just reminiscing about the past and singing this very sad kind of song, and it was very emotional. And it still gets me when I watch that scene. I get very emotional about it because it's about the Muppets in the past and them being forgotten, kind of, and uh, can they get back together? Can they get that magic back? And yeah, just amazing song, beautifully written and sung. Yeah, great lyrics. Everything's just really great about that song. So to me, that should have probably won best song. But those three probably should have been nominated. All three are just some of the best in the franchise. So it's weird that only one got nominated, but ended up winning, which was good. But yeah, like I said, it's Muppet. Like I said, music's amazing, absolutely hilarious. One of the funniest, maybe the funniest in the series. Like I said, Jason Segel, Amy Adams does an amazing job as a couple, uh, and what they do, and it has all the great meta humor and looking at breaking the fourth wall type. And I do love the whole idea of getting the gang back together and putting on a show, and kind of working on nostalgia. I love that. It works on the nostalgia if you love the Muppets anyway. So yeah, that's why I have the Muppets at number two on my list. So that leaves one movie. If you know the Muppet movies, there's one movie left, and that is a Muppets Christmas Carol, which came out in 1992. Like I said, it was the first one that was directed by Brian Henson. Unfortunately, Jim Henson had passed away at that point. So this is the first movie I believe that was done without Jim Henson involved. But Brian Henson, his son, evidently was very involved with the Muppets. Took over directing and did an amazing job directing this movie. And of course, it's another. I love the idea of adapting a really famous story. Of course, A Christmas Carol is one of the most adapted. I mean, it seems like every Christmas there's a new Christmas Carol movie, either in theaters or on TV. It's such a great story. It's very powerful, emotional, and tells such a great lesson in life. And of course, it's about Christmas, which is always fun. And has one of the greatest characters of all time, Scrooge, and has such a great redemption arc for that character. It's one of my favorite stories, and I always love watching Christmas Carol movies because the story is just so amazing. And if you get the right actor, Scrooge is such a great character that you get a good actor in that role. It's so fun to watch. I think of past, like Patrick Stewart did a really good version of it, and George C. Scott did a good version of it, and Michael Caine plays Scrooge in this movie, does a really good job. I mean, I would say I was thinking of all the movies, I would say Michael Caine is my favorite actor. Had the best role in all of them, and probably second would be Tim Curry from Muppets Treasure Island. I think those two really stand out as really doing such a great job with such iconic characters. Yeah, but Michael Caine, amazing actor, does Scrooge very well, and he plays it almost kind of seriously, like a really a good serious actor would, and it works so well within the. And I heard Michael Caine say he just played it like the Muppets were real, and he didn't play it like he's talking to fake things. He did the movie like he was acting amongst real actors, the Muppets, anyways, and it worked really well for that. Again, of course, I love the Christmas theme of it. I love the idea of putting all the characters in the adaptation with Kermit playing Bob Cratchit, of course, and one of the main characters. And you go through and you have his wife, Miss Piggy. And this time they have Gonzo and Rizzo kind of they're the narrators. And that was a great way of telling the story. Plus, those two are very funny together. And they can talk to the camera a lot. Do a lot of good stuff with that. And yeah, it's still a very emotional movie. I still cry every time Tiny Tim comes out and he sings the song, God bless us. and like I can't help but cry during those movies because I love Tiny Tim. Such a sympathetic, empathetic character. You know, here's a kid who's dying of some disease. He's poor. He's a little kid that's on crutches. He's so nice to everybody. He doesn't deserve, whatever happened to him, and yet he's not bitter. He's not angry. He says, "God bless us," everyone, and even Scrooge, who's been terrible to his family, he still, God bless Mr. Scrooge, and that breaks Mr. Scrooge's heart, and that's really what makes him change. Everything else, I think, he has such a hardened heart that he wouldn't have changed except for Tiny Tim. Was that character just totally broke his heart, that he just couldn't understand this little kid who's dying, who's not angry and bitter like he is, and that totally changed his whole perspective of life. And now I'm just talking about the story in general, but this movie does it. It's a comedy. It still brings out the emotions in me with that Tiny Tim character. Tiny Tim's a little frog, still gets me every time. And the music is absolutely amazing. Love, the second, the giant. That's one of the spirits, spirit of the present, ghost of Christmas present. He has a whole song about, feels like Christmas. A really great number. Kermit has a song about Christmas almost here. I think I probably wrote it down here. It feels like Christmas, and one more day till Christmas. Kermit sings that song, and it's a great Christmas song. So it's like these are great Christmas songs within this movie that to me are like classic that I listen to every Christmas. And so I love that aspect of it. Great Christmas song, but also just great song for the movie. And like I said, God bless us. God bless us, one and all. Tiny Tim sings. Great moment in the movie. Anyways, and of course, really great happy ending and it all. It just makes you feel good. At the end of the movie, like I said, it makes me emotional. It makes me so happy at the end, and it just gets a really good feeling inside your heart that I love watching this movie. Every Christmas I watch it, and I love it. Anyway, so that's my number one favorite Muppet movie, A Muppet Christmas Carol. Though the Muppets came pretty close. I love those two movies so much. Definitely those at the very top. Muppets Christmas Carol and Muppets. Everything kind of somewhere in the middle to the end. But I still love all the Muppet movies. I still have I'm a fan and watch them here and there. So anyway, so that's my rankings of the 8 Muppet movies. Let me know what your favorite Muppet movie is in the comments. And just thank you for watching the video and liking it. And thank you to all the subscribers for supporting the channel. I really appreciate you all. Have a good day.